Welcome to the KI 100. We're gonna look at the maneuvers and we're gonna look at aiming today. Now, as far as the maneuvers goes, when it comes to Japanese, you have to do vertical maneuvers because you keep a lot more energy, a lot better than any other nation on vertical maneuvers. Okay? More so than any other nation. So you're gonna see me basically out energy enemies using vertical maneuvers. But one thing I gotta tell you is don't ever dive with US planes. Don't ever do it. If a US plane dives out, let him dive out. Keep your altitude. But far as maneuvers goes, vertical. Just keep everything. Try to force your enemy to fight you in a vertical because you will get on his tail. That's one thing. And the second thing is we're gonna look at aiming with these guns. Japanese have the second slowest velocity in the game, so we're gonna be in the next half of this video. We're gonna look at aiming with stealth ammunition and the reason why I like to do it. But as far as maneuvers and tactics goes, you know, one, it'll help. Doing vertical maneuvers will help you to get on the enemy's tail, but if you're being attacked by 2-3 players, it'll help your survivability. Even though this fighter can dive very well, like it has a very high top speed on a dive, almost reaching 700 at 3.7 BR, you don't have energy retention. So it's something that Japanese fighters don't have much. Energy retention is a big thing, and as soon as if you dive, fighters such as the US, Russians, BF-109s, they can catch you on a level flight. So you have to keep this fighter on a vertical, and make sure you keep this fighter around about mid to high altitude. If it's in lower altitudes, there's a lot of other fighters that can outperform you as far as engine power goes. So you have to be careful of that. As far as overshooting maneuvers, things like that goes, you need a lot of speed build up to do that. If you don't have that speed, you're not going to be able to outmaneuver. Even though you got a great turn rate, you don't have that much of a good roll rate. So you do need a lot of speed. And after this clip, the next clip, I'll show you what to do when you get attacked by multiple enemies. So this guy's gonna die soon. Now, I'm going to be attacked by a P-38 and a P-51D D-20. Now, notice what I do. I go into a merge, then I go into a vertical, and then I try to force them to fight me in the vertical, and it's going to be extremely hard. But also, notice the altitude. If I did this at like 3,000, 2,000 meters, I would easily be dead. But because of this altitude and the vertical performance that I have, it's very hard for fighters to hit me, unless if it's a Spitfire Mk1, Mk2, but those fighters have very good maneuverability at these altitudes. But what you can do is you can actually outdive the Spitfires quite easily. So, but as far as the US goes, this is a tactic that you can easily use. So right after I dodge him, what do? I take this fighter to a vertical. I turn, and as soon as I turn, I see the P-38 coming in, and I go to a vertical again. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm merging with the enemy, taking them to a vertical, merging with them again, taking them to a vertical. And on the vertical, watch this. That P-51, it just does not have the light wing loading that I have for it to follow me up. So now you guys can see why from the get-go of this video I always said do vertical maneuvers. Vertical maneuvers can, one, it's gonna keep you alive, two, it's gonna get you on the enemy 6 o'clock. So right here, my teammate, he dodging us. He finally came in and helped me out. And yeah, we ended up taking down the P-38 as well. After this clip, we're gonna look at aim. And because of low velocity, for anyone who's new to the Japanese tree, if you want to play the KI-100, you're gonna love it because it got cannons on the nose. It's like it's a cross between a KI-61 and a KI-43. The diving ability and the top speed of a KI-61 with KI-43's turning ability, but at higher altitudes than the KI-61. So we follow him. Finally, alright. Now, as far as improving your aim, the tactic which I use is whenever I play a new nation, what I do is I try to get about 300 meters and then pull the trigger. And I really do like using stealth because it puts the enemy at a false sense of security. They're not gonna jink, they're not gonna move around as much because, you know, they feel safe. So that's, yeah, I mean, you're not gonna, you know, waste a lot of ammo doing this as well, but you don't need to waste a lot of ammo. You get 500 MGs and cannons, where the zeros you don't get as much. So again, if you want to improve your aim, try working at 300 meters and then pulling the trigger. Try using stealth because of that surprise factor, so people don't, you know, the enemy doesn't freak out. And after that, you'll see your aim slowly improve, very slowly improve. And look, if you can aim with low velocity guns, low velocity cannons and machine guns like that, you're gonna do quite well with high velocity rounds that the US and the Brits have. So it's, yeah, it's like aiming using a harder mode. So the only time that I don't actually fire my guns is if I'm maneuvering with a fighter doing over 600 km an hour, because your bullets will actually drop a lot faster because the enemy's moving fast as well as yourselves. That's really the only time I don't really try to not shoot, unless if the enemy's flying dead straight in front of me. So yeah, like as far as also the stock mode of this fighter, it was actually quite pleasing to play, because simple fact is that US teams are quite bad, and you don't really notice that your fighter's actually stock. So which is a good thing for newer players. But as far as using auto controls, it does overheat quite easily using auto mode, so I prefer manual. So manual was the way to go, and I did not once overheat the engine, and I could push it as far as I could go. So hope you guys learned something, enjoyed it. So see you guys later.